Hello, I'm Alfred Ford. Welcome to the Bhaktivedanta Cultural Center at the Fisher Mansion. I'm sure you will enjoy your stay. And now, take a few minutes to hear the story of how this center came into existence.
The Fisher Mansion. It was once one of America's finest homes and a landmark of Detroit history. Lawrence P. Fisher built his home in the 1920s. He was the head of Cadillac Motors from 1926 to the late 1940s. He became famous by designing bodies for all General Motors cars. Fisher imported ornate architectural pieces direct from European castles and built for himself a veritable pleasure palace. Styled in Moorish architecture, the mansion and its grounds included 3 boat wells, a bowling alley, an enclosed swimming pool, many fine pieces of art, lush carpets, tapestries, and lavish furniture. It's difficult to remember Detroit without Ford automobile factories or the United Auto Workers Union headed by Walter Reuther, and the long and often bitter feud between Ford management and the UAW is now a legendary part of the city's history. Elisabeth Reuther, the daughter of Walter Reuther, recalls.
In the late 1930s, my father was very involved in organizing the automobile industry, and obviously Ford was one of the main companies that he was trying to organize. In fact, Ford was the last company to really surrender to the trade union movement. So there was always a lot of tension between the two families, the Fords and the Reuthers. But then when Srila Prabhupada came to Detroit and found the Fisher Mansion, he instructed Alfred Ford and I to purchase it together. So this is a perfect example of how when God is the common denominator, you can actually find peace and harmony between very diverse backgrounds.
In 1975, Alfred Brush Ford, great-grandson of Henry Ford, and Elisabeth Reuther jointly purchased the dilapidated Fisher Mansion. At the request of their spiritual teacher, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder of the Hare Krishna movement, they bought the mansion for only $300,000. The reason for such a low price? Over the years, this once wealthy neighborhood had unfortunately slid into poverty. At first, not only Ford, but Reuther and their Krishna colleagues were skeptical, but they had confidence in the advice of their spiritual teacher. Alfred Ford talks about his skepticism.
When I first went to look at the Fisher Mansion, I was shocked to see how dilapidated the neighborhood was. I had no faith that there could be any development here of any significance. But Srila Prabhupada had a vision for this project and for the neighborhood, and I decided to have some faith in that vision and to invest in this.
Bhaktivedanta Swami envisioned the mansion as a cultural center, or even an authentic Vedic temple, all for the benefit and upliftment of society. With this idea in mind, and with assurances that the surroundings would change for the better, he advised Alfred and Elisabeth to go ahead with their plan to buy the then crumbling estate on Greyhaven Canal. Soon afterwards, Hare Krishna devotees began renovations. They worked hard to establish relations with the community, encouraged neighborhood improvement, and provided tools and human resources. They converted boat wells into sanctuaries and shows of Vedic culture. People were impressed. Charles Brown, developer of Greyhaven Marina Village next to the temple, remembers.
The area was in substantial decay, but with the Fisher Mansion and Greyhaven served as a catalyst to redevelop what I call the Far East Side. The entire area has changed.
In 1990, 23 years since the 1967 Detroit riots, the first single-family homes in Detroit were built in the Victoria Park and Greyhaven areas just near the Fisher Mansion. Reassured by the credibility of the Ford and Reuther names, the city of Detroit began to cooperate with the Krishnas. Municipal authorities bulldozed several blocks that were beyond salvage and erected new and clean, low-cost housing and a modern training center for the unemployed. The widely known Otto Behrens tour decided to include the newly renovated center, adding Fisher's former home to those of Chrysler and Ford, all of which are visited by thousands every year. A distinctive blend of Detroit and Indian traditions, the Bhaktivedanta Cultural Center at the Fisher Mansion is a unique and fascinating experience for the whole family.
And now, enjoy your visit with us. Please come back again soon and bring the rest of your family and friends. Thank you, goodbye, and Hare Krishna.